Hey dreamers! I am thrilled to bring you the very first episode of Dreamers Unite. And recently I had the opportunity to sit with executive and celebrity chef Danielle Saunders. Now she was also Food Network's first female Grand Chop champion. That's huge, right? Now, Danielle was not born with a silver spoon in her mouth, but today she is one of the most sought after chefs in the world. She has cooked for Tom Hanks, Mary J. Blige, Oprah, and she says one of her toughest clients, who made her better, Sean Diddy Combs. And I am thrilled to bring her story and her journey to you. I learned a lot, and I hope that you do too. Enjoy this episode. Hi, Danielle. Welcome to Dreamers Unite, the talk show for dreamers.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here this evening.
Thank you for
Very
being
excited.
here. I'm excited, and I know our viewers are excited. Celebrity chef, you have traveled the world, so accomplished, chopped. What was the inspiration for you to be a chef?
Well, first and foremost, my biggest inspiration would have to be my mom. She's the strongest person that I know. She's always taught me that whatever you put your mind to, if you can envision it, you can make it happen. So knowing that and having that fuel behind you and everything that you do, I mean, it kind of makes everything else kind of easy.
It doesn't seem easy to be on Chopped week after week. How did you handle the stress?
Well, being a chef, I think you just naturally work well under stress. Most situations are stressful. Working in a kitchen, trying to get food out, just every element of working in a kitchen is stressful. So I think once you do it for quite some time, it just becomes your norm, and you learn to work well within those restraints.
Okay, I watched you, and I was nervous. Sometimes in those baskets, you don't know what you're gonna get. How do you think on your feet like that? How does that work?
Well, my first basket, I literally opened it up and hadn't worked with anything in the basket. And like I shared with you before going on the show, I hadn't watched anything just to not make myself crazy. You really can't prepare for the unknown. So the night before, what we did do though, my family, we did a mock chopped. And my dad had gone to like Fairway and to Whole Foods and bought all kinds of stuff. And literally, when I went on the show the next day, one of the items was in the basket. So basically, I just treated the items like other things. So one of the items was a green vegetable called jus mallow. Had never heard of it, had never worked with it. And literally they gave it to us in the frozen state. So they give you 1 pot of boiling water. I threw the jus mallow in there. When I took it out, it was slimy, it was green, so it was leafy like spinach, but the slime consistency of okra. I had no clue as to what to do with it. So being that I had already adulterated it by putting it in the water, I made creamed spinach. I added some garlic, some Parmesan cheese, some heavy cream, and some butter, and the rest is history. I mean, so treating the items like other things that I had worked with previously is what got me through.
So you are a celebrity chef and an executive chef.
Yes.
And you have cooked for some of the most famous people in the world. Mm-hmm. How have you handled that in preparing meals for them and being on tour with Sean Diddy Combs and cooking for Mary J. Blige and Tom Hanks?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that everything that you're presented with becomes knowledge, you know what I mean? And so every experience, every party, every event, everything that you do kind of prepares you for the next step. So working for Sean Combs, I mean, once you work for him, you can pretty much do anything. His work ethic is unmatched.
Wow.
He literally lives by the saying, like, when he says he doesn't sleep, he really means that he doesn't sleep. And he expects that type of energy from everyone around him. He expects greatness from everyone around him. So being exposed to that so early on in my career, I think it set the tone for everything else that I was going to do, and kind of gave you that energy to keep going and to keep moving, because excellence takes dedication, it takes patience, it takes all of those things that you have to give up. Cooking has always been my first love. And so the sacrifice has never really been a sacrifice because it's come from a place of love.
What I want to talk about too on this show, or what we're trying to explore, is where does the dream come from? How early does it start? When do you recognize it? And then how did you recognize it, that you really had this interest in love and passion for food, and that then turn that into a career?
That's a really good question. I don't know if I identified my talent at a young age, but I know that my love of cooking and my love of food came from always being around my Nana. And my Nana would always cook food for church on Sundays. And my mom is an identical twin, and they have always been notorious and known for dressing and looking sharp. So on Saturdays, my mom and my aunt would always go shopping. Like, this was the routine, either Alexander's or whether it was Loman's or whatever the stores were at the time when we lived in the city. But my Nana would stay home and watch Kung Fu movies, watch the Mets games, and she would prep Sunday dinner on Saturday. So I would always do whatever I could to kind of get out of the shopping mode, to stay with Nana, to cut collard greens, to take the stems out of them and to pile them up into rolled greens, and for 20 years later to go to culinary school to learn that there was a technical French term called chiffonade, for what my Nana had taught me all this time, which she knew nothing about. You know what I mean? So for it to come full circle for me, to then go to culinary school and to have this amazing career that I did not foresee is really, 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 really amazing for me.
Did you know that this is where your journey was going to take you? Did you ever feel that I'm meant for something great?
Absolutely. I've always known that I've been meant for something great. I've been told that I've been blessed and highly favored from a very, very young age.
Beautiful.
But not knowing that culinary was going to be my journey. I knew that, I would say in my early 20s, I, from high school, went on to a regular 4-year college, studied pharmaceutical chemistry, got my historical Black college experience on and partied, but really knew that wasn't the end all be all for me. I found myself taking all of the money and funds that my parents had sent me for living, and I would buy groceries, and I had a full-on kitchen going on in my dorm room, and I would sell the food to make more money.
Wow, so you were always entrepreneurial.
Just working and doing stuff I had no business doing, failing bowling and everything else in college, until my dad called one day, like, what are you doing? Like, we got your grades? Like, what's going on? Like, how do you feel bowling? And I'm like, well, I don't know how I feel. Well, I know how I feel, Daddy. I didn't go. You know what I mean? I've been in my room and I've been cooking and I've been making jambalaya. And he's like, make it, like, what do you mean? Like, so the love has always been there. I just didn't know how to manifest it. I didn't know how to break it to my parents that I didn't want to go to a 4-year college. I came home that year, applied to culinary school. They were like, look, we have another kid that has to go to college. Mm-hmm. You've pretty much wasted your allotment of money. You can stay here, but we're not funding any more education.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, okay. Like, I had no idea that they were just gonna like drop me cold turkey, but they supported me, and I went and applied for school and applied for my loans and did everything on my own and graduated at the top of my class when I graduated culinary school. And I just feel like if they hadn't done it that way, that I would not have appreciated the gift. I wouldn't have appreciated my education because I had to pay for it. And so my first job out of school was, I worked at the Lobster Club with Ann Rosenzweig, one of the first female pioneering chefs, literally like 4'10", but like a dragon. Everyone, I'm talking about men fell at her feet when they saw her because she just had this presence in the kitchen, and I knew I wanted to be like that. I knew I wanted to be this strong presence of a woman in the kitchen because it's a male-dominated, not only male, but Caucasian male-dominated profession. And so me, a little old Black girl walking in talking about I'm running a kitchen and I'm telling people what to do at the U.S. Open in the President's hall. And so I've never looked the part, and I've done my best at trying to not look the part. The journey has has been amazing so far. It's been amazing so far, and I've got so much more to do. I'm nowhere close to being done.
So what I think is a great takeaway for everyone is that you can make a mistake and you can learn from it. You don't have to be shut down. You don't have to be stifled.
Not at all.
And then you can also reflect and say, that's where I needed to be.
For sure.
That's what even though it was tough, like your parents saying,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure I would probably say the same thing.
I'm sure most parents would.
Yes.
I would.
I might,
say
yeah, especially when you have other kids.
Absolutely,
right?
I would say it. I would, but I think that's a way to put a fire up under someone that you know has a gift, that has a light, and they just may not see it at that point, but you can see it. And moms see everything. They know everything. I know.
Well.
They know. I'm not a mom yet, but they do know. And she saw something in me. My mom and dad both saw something in me, and I guess that was the way to ignite my fire to keep me going.
Yeah, and I think sometimes you have to, there is a such thing as tough love.
For sure.
And I'm a mom, and I won't say I know everything.
You guys know a lot,
although I
though.
know everything.
You guys
no,
know
I
a
really
lot.
don't. But I will say that sometimes you do have to give the toughest love, especially with your children or just anyone that you love. Sometimes
sure.
you can't just hand things to everyone.
For sure.
You were the first African American female to win Chopped.
That was. Huge feat.
Congratulations, that's
Thank you.
huge.
Thank you.
So has it changed for you? How is it now in the industry for women, in particular women of color and African American women?
I think that there's been a huge surge in female African American talent in the culinary world, which is amazing. There's a lot of young new blood out here. I just did a dinner at the Soho House in the city, and I've been asked to cook there a few times, and I had the pleasure of having a up and coming chef out of DC come and help me, who just had her first big write up in Essence, and it was amazing. It was really, really amazing because I kind of passed the baton to her because it wasn't my first dinner there. So I kind of let her lead things, and it was a lot of fun. But there's a lot of new talent out, and it calls for folks like me. I mean, I never would have thought that I'd call myself a veteran, but now some of the music and stuff that's going on, I'm looking at my little brother like, what are they talking about? Like, what are they saying? And I never, like, now I'm old now, and even in the industry, I am old because I've been cooking for the past 22 years of my life. So even though I'm just 42, you know, a very young 42, there are folks that are coming out that are blazing through things, you know, and it takes folks like me to continuously support them and help in any way that I can and learn from them as they learn from me. You know, cooking is something that you continuously learn from, and you continuously go full circle, because I think recipes and food culture is like fashion, you know what I mean? They become vintage, and then they come right back around again, and that's why you save things and you go over older recipes. I have 200 handwritten recipes that my grandfather left me that I still haven't gone through each and every one of them.
Wow.
And like, you go through them and you see his thought process from, you know, 40 years ago, and then you look at it and the same principles today apply. And so for me, I look at food in that same way, like it comes full circle, just like fashion.
And we really are standing on the shoulders of our ancestors.
For sure.
And now you're opening doors for a whole new generation of culinary chefs. What advice could you give them if they wanted to, you know, go on Chopped or would you recommend someone go on these reality shows like that?
Absolutely. You're not going to win them all. I mean, I did Food Fighters on NBC, got my butt kicked. I mean, but, you know, it's all about putting yourself out there, you know, and if you don't roll the dice, how are you going to get a piece of anything that's happening? So you've got to take a chance on yourself, and you've got to believe in yourself, is what I would tell anyone coming up or anyone wanting to do competitions or be on shows. It's all about staying true to yourself and to get to know who you are, and to travel and to read everything that you possibly can, and to find a mentor, you know what I mean? And find somebody who's willing to share knowledge and that's willing to just give you little nuggets, to help you along the way, because those are really, really important. And a lot of people gave those to me. And so
that's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so speaking of nuggets, one of my jobs here at Dreamers Unite is to gather as many nuggets as I can and then throw it out to our viewers so they can catch some of your shine. I am a dreamer, and I'm on this journey of creating a show, a television show. It's a huge dream. And what advice can you give me? Because I'm trying to, as I'm on this journey, like all of us, I know sometimes you must get tired too, right?
Very tired.
So what advice can you give me to keep on going? So when I feel like I can't take another step, I can say, Danielle Saunders said.
Well, first and foremost, you have to do it for the ancestors. I mean,
Yes.
come on, that's the first reason, because they're expecting us to do it, because they gave us, the power and the mindset and everything else that we need to accomplish each and every one of our goals. And like you said, if this is something that you've wanted to do for so long, you can see it. You're here. You can feel it. Yes. I'm currently working on a cookbook, and this is something that I've been working on for the last 10 years of my life, but I haven't been able to finish it. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where you don't want to put it on the back burner. You know what I mean? Because it's a dream of yours. You can see it. I can taste it. I can flip the pages of this book. As I'm sure you can see the episodes of your show, and you can see. So with that being said, always keep your dream visual. Always work on it, even if it's not complete. You know what I mean? Even if you're doing other things to financially sustain yourself while you're trying to make your dream come true, which most of us are. Yes. Continue to work on it. Stay steadfast with whatever it is. And no matter how long it takes, when it does come, when the time is right for it to happen, it's because that's when God said so.
Amen.
You know what I mean? And that's when it's supposed to happen. And that's what I've realized in my own journey, that it's not in my time. It's not in social media's time. It's not me comparing myself to other chefs or what they're doing or what they're accomplishing. Has nothing to do with my story or my journey. So It's about knowing yourself, but staying true to yourself and not giving up and being consistent with yourself, which we don't always do. I'm not always consistent with Danielle, but it's something that I learned, or that I'm learning to do. And that's the advice that I would give to you, to just continue to be consistent with yourself.
I'm taking that all in, and again, I'm throwing it out to the viewers, and being consistent, being authentic, not betraying yourself, and don't forget the ancestors, because you would not be here without them at all. So while I have you here, this amazing chef in my presence, what can you tell our viewers in terms of what's a spice that can maybe make every meal something easy for them to work with? That's flavorful.
Well, one thing that I've exchanged in my kitchen, which is a very important ingredient, is salt. But I've exchanged iodized salt, sea salt, for Himalayan pink salt, because of all of the medicinal benefits that it has. It has over 84 trace minerals in it that helps with a ton of things. You can put a key lime with spring water and some Himalayan pink salt, and you now have homemade Gatorade. You know what I mean? As opposed to drinking the stuff from the store with all of the sugar and crap in it. But you've now made an alkaline-based drink, that you can have at home. So I love Himalayan pink salt. I use it for everything. It has a more sweet ending taste, as opposed to that very salty, briny type flavor. You can get it coarse ground. You can get it so many different ways. But I think salt is one thing that is a staple in every kitchen, because it livens food up. You can do so much with salt. And it's one thing that I always have on hand.
I'm going to make a new Gatorade for my son. He's an athlete, and I'm going to try that.
It's really, really good. I'm telling you, I'll send you proproportions and everything later. I don't know.
Please, because I'm sure I'll mess it up.
I don't want you to mess it up.
Yeah,
I don't want you to mess it up.
Okay,
So
and I don't think my son does either.
I don't think he'll be happy with you, Mom, if you mess it up. So we're going to make sure you get the right recipe.
Yes.
We're going to make sure.
Now tell me, what was one of your most challenging meals to prepare for one of your celebrity clients?
Well, there was this one time, I was asked to be on a show called Who Wants to Work for Diddy on VH1, I believe, on a network show. And one of the obstacles was to prepare a meal on a yacht for Mr. Combs and his family.
Okay.
And literally everyone ate different. And the boat was docked, I want to say, almost by Wall Street, whatever that, I don't know the area off the top of my head, but down on Wall Street. And it poured raining that day. And I was transitioning once again from a short haircut to a long haircut. And I just remember having my hair like gel down. And I remember it raining and like gel and everything, like literally like just dripping everywhere. And I'm running around with groceries. And it was crazy. And I just remember him yelling on this boat and people filming and cameras going everywhere. I literally wanted to put a life jacket on and jump overboard and swim back to New Jersey is what I wanted to do. But the food came out great.
Okay.
I was motion sick from the boat because we were like we were docked, so we were moving back and forth. It was, like I said, it was raining. So it was just one of the most difficult circumstances, in addition to trying to train folks to get this meal out for this very difficult client that I love with all my heart.
Who made you better?
Who made me better,
There
who
you
made
go.
me better, and who is a mentor and a friend to me now. I went
That's
back to his
beautiful.
home last year for a dinner with a friend, with another client who's a friend of mine. And I didn't know whether to eat my chicken or clear the dishes. I was so uncomfortable. I was like, do I move this? Do I eat?
That's great.
But again, the career has come full circle when you're able to sit at a table with someone that you've admired and have worked for and used to cut their pictures out of Right On magazine.
Wow.
And so it definitely has been a manifestation. And I wouldn't have been able to do any of this without my family and without, the grace of God. This is really all this is.
And you must have been absolutely thrilled to go even farther and reach the high bar of winning All Stars. Did you see it before you actually won?
Well, I don't want to say I saw it, but it was one of those things where once you get to this point, you know that you can go a little further. And then once you get to this point, you know you can go a little further. I'm not the greatest baker. I'm going to admit that. And the night before, I practiced the cake. And literally, I opened the basket. There were eggs, flour, milk, all of the components of a cake.
Now, don't you think that was
nothing but God.
Obviously,
That was nothing
God
but,
just
that
working
was nothing
in there,
but
right?
God.
Yes.
I like I said, I am not the greatest baker, but I memorized a cake recipe the night before, and that was the only dessert that I had practiced. And when I opened the basket, my last basket, like I said, there were eggs, flour, sugar, and milk. Okay, God, you don't have to speak any louder. I've got it.
Yes.
A cake it is. And that's what happened. I made my Nana's like spoon bread cake or something and did like a fruit, some sort of coulis of some sort with whatever was in the basket. But yeah, it was just one of those things where you knew it was that divine intervention that was on your side. And then the last evening when I won the entire thing, my family was there. And so you're able to see on the cameras which way they're going to go. And so by the way they're going to go determines who won and who didn't win. So when I saw my family, I lost it, like literally lost it when I saw my mom and my dad and my brother. So I knew at that point, but in my heart, I knew when I opened that last basket and I saw the contents, I was like, okay, God is moving.
Well, I read too, the judges knew you were something special because one of the judges, I don't remember who it is, said something that you were the future of cooking.
Who you're speaking of is Jeffrey Zakarian, I believe, that made that statement.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they knew there was something special about you.
I guess they saw my light.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say that. They saw your light. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so now
me.
we're gonna play Name It, Claim It, Own It.
Okay.
Name It, Claim It, Own It.
I like that.
It's coming up. It is now time to play Name It, Claim It, Own It. I have the privilege of playing it with Danielle Saunders. So I'm going to start off by telling you to write down your dream, which you've already revealed to us, is this cookbook.
All
Okay.
right.
So first of all, it is naming the dream that's important. And she's writing that down and she's naming it. And then we, viewers and me, we're all going to affirm and claim it with Danielle. We're going to deposit this into our beautiful vintage dream box right now.
There you go.
She named it. We're gonna claim it with her.
That's right.
I claim it, I affirm it, I see it with you. This cookbook, you may have written down the name, you may or may not want to share it yet, but I'm gonna keep it in here.
It's in there.
And it is done, it is so. And now the last part of this is to own it.
I own it.
Yes,
That
so you're
cookbook
gonna
is
come,
mine.
oh, it's yours. It's already owning it, but now you're gonna come back and you're gonna show us that you did it
Yes,
and
I
you
will.
owned it. And then you can share with us how you got there, some of the steps, and then we'll just keep passing it on. We'll keep sharing the golden nuggets and passing them on, and I'm gonna keep gathering them, as many as I can. I really appreciate your time, your energy, your strength. And I'm gonna say this now, Danielle did tell me one of my dreams is gonna come true because she's
Yes,
gonna
I
cook
am.
me my dream meal.
Yes, I am.
That's what
I already
she
told
said.
you.
Yes.
I already told you.
I'm holding you to it.
I've got
You
you
will see
covered.
it too.
I've
Okay.
got you covered.
Okay.
I've got you covered.
Thank you
Thank you
so
for having
much.
me.
Really, thank you.
Thank
You're
you
a
for having
blessing
me.
and a gift. Thank you.